Hello out there. Are you listening? Are you tuning in right now to what's going on right here on this podcast? What is it that you're doing? Are you just listening? Are you just sitting in an armchair, staring maybe at a blank wall painted off cream beige? Are you exercising? Maybe getting in that late afternoon session on the rowing machine? Are you about to eat 5 Hot Pockets with pretzels? Or maybe you're driving somewhere. Maybe you're about to rear end that poor sucker in front of you. Well, I advise everybody to listen safely, of course. And I take no legal liability for anybody who rear ends somebody during the broadcasting of this podcast. This is serious business. This is politics. And we all better keep our safety helmets on. This time on the podcast, we are going to be covering a historic, or as some narrators say, an historic event from one of the loveliest states that people love to move away from, New Jersey. And New Jersey's finest and dandiest and especially grandest in the true sense of the word, Mr. Chris Christie, delivering up the goods on a platter that people have been ordering for about 5 years. Finally, he has satiated the appetites of those hungry northeastern election diners and served up a full plate of red meat and saved some room for dessert. But in case you haven't caught a whiff of where I am leading with this, I guess you could say, appetizing introduction, I am covering the presidential inaugural event of a one Mr. Chris Christie here at Presidential Speculatainment. And boy, it is exciting around here at the studios. I would describe them to you, but I don't want to bore you with all the technical mastery and, sonic equipment and rooms full of, processing technologies and all that stuff. So let's just keep focused on the subject at hand, what we're all about here, which is, of course, this time, the newest dude to get into the Republican race for president of the United States of America, to be decided in 2016, in theory. And if you are wondering why I think that's a theory, or if you're just wondering why I'm still stalling on this introduction, I would give you just a couple explanations or suggestions. Number one, go to presidentialspeculatainment.com. Just check it out. Check it out. I mean, the audio content is just one piece of the menagerie. There are some articles I know what you're saying. Boring articles. Who wants to read? There's also some cartoons. Huh? You guys like that? Pictures? It's like, it's like little kids. They always want to wonder if the book's got pictures. Illustrations. So that's right. There are some original illustrations on there. I'm not an artist, but prove me wrong. Right? Check it out for yourself. If you think I am, or if you just want to say, you know what, Danny, your artistry skills are on par with my 3-year-old. Let me know. Shoot me an email. That would be Danny@presidentialspeculative.com. And I'm going to do you guys one better. I'm trying to get interactive, okay? So I have set up a hotline for the show. That's right. If you guys want to be on the show, there's nothing stopping you from here on out. You can call in. I don't have a live broadcast set up just yet. Okay, guys? We're just establishing the foundational, of what do they call that thing under the house? Okay, that we're just laying it down here. So you can't be live, talking with me back and forth just yet. But if you want to be on this show, there is a hotline. You can go to presidentialspeculative.com, go to the contact page. There you will find a phone number you can call and leave me a message. Now, say what you want to say, and boom. If you want to get out there, if you've got an opinion, if you think I'm an idiot, if you want to run for president, any of the above and more, call the hotline and leave me an audio message. And if it's decent, in fact, you know what? If it's halfway decent, I will put it on the show. I'll do it, man. I will give you at least 15 seconds of fame. All right? The other thing you can do is subscribe to this podcast. Please do that. And, what would really help me is, and you're like, oh, yeah, fucking Danny just wants to use us. Just step over our heads. Why don't you? Well, guys, I need people to rate this podcast. It takes 2 seconds. I've only got 2 ratings. 2 ratings. There are several hundred downloads of this program, but I see that there are only 2 ratings and reviews on iTunes. Despite that, I am still pushing up the ranks in the iTunes search categories, but that's not good enough, guys, because I could be pushed up there even higher. The fact is that this old company, second most valuable or first or top 5, whatever valuable in the world, Apple, they know value, and they have decided to value how many ratings and reviews a podcast gets. And I've got jack squat. Or, because this is not the radio or television, jack shit to show for the people that are apparently enjoying this programming. So please do that. And you can subscribe, and you can subscribe to the YouTube channel. And I'm on all that other hip social media. If you guys are hip like that. So that's why I was stalling. But the stalling is now over. So, just get ready for the intro music at this point. And why do I need to get ready for it? Danny, you're asking? I mean, isn't it some lame, King's entrance trumpet section that you created yourself, with digital instruments and, well, come on. I mean, yes, it's that, but you know what? When the king enters, all the peasants, they still have to get in line in the mud, and gosh darn, take their straw hats off. I mean, not straw, moss. They got to take them off, and they have to blow their nose and spit out all their spare teeth, and frickin' let the king walk up. And guys, I'm not the king. I'm just the court jester. But the reason for the royal trumpets is, I'm just letting all the magician's secrets out of the rabbit's hat here. I'm just doing a little jester dance because there is a king making going on right now. And actually, as if this was 20th century England, I mean, it's more of a queen making, if you ask me. But why are you asking the court jester? All right? So just kneel in the mud, take off your moss hat, and pull that rat out of your armpit hair. You bunch of peasants. Because that's what these wannabe kings and queens are hoping that you are. All right. So, and just get ready for the big entrance. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, on June, 2015, we had another prominent American enter the race for the presidency. And his name was Christopher. Now, Christopher what, you might ask? Well, I'll tell you. So, Christopher. He goes by Chris. He's a casual guy. I mean, just ask his old childhood friend Lynn Groney. But hang on, you don't know who is Lynn Groney. Well, my friends, stay tuned. Or not, but if you do, you will get to know the identity of Lynn Groney and so much more. Because we are talking about the great, and I do mean that in its literal sense, Christopher Christie, and his announcement to become your next president. Would you like that? How would you feel about that? I mean, hey, let me know. I already gave you my my contact info. Literally, guys, I'm fishing for ideas here. In any case, Lynn Groney did not start the show. Not like Stevie Wonder did back when he was opening for the Rolling Stones in the early 1970s. By the way, I have an article tangentially mentioning that. Not directly. Up on presidentialspeculatenment.com. But Lynn Groney was no Stevie Wonder on this night because that award goes to Sheila Goldplank, who gave a speech. I don't know if it was any good. I heard the end of it. I don't know if this is the fault of YouTube or just the general Christie campaign headquarters. In any case, let's just say that Sheila Goldplank was experiencing technical difficulties. Or rather, the crowd was. Or, the audience was. The later digital audience certainly was, because I was trying to get Sheila's remarks about Christie, but I could not because she had no way to communicate on that stage other than just standing there and appear as if she was giving a speech into a microphone that worked. But for me, it didn't work. I mean, guys, I don't know. Why not? I mean, you wouldn't accuse me of being an amateur, would you? All I could tell you is that I heard no sound. I was just looking at, Miss or Mrs. Goldplank. Just doing the basic body language of speech giving. And so what's left for a serious investigative reporter like me to, relay to you guys? Not much. So, we're going to move on to the lady Sheila introduced. Listen, I'm sure Christie's got a lot of good people. I'm not going to speculate on why they didn't figure that out, because we have to talk about Lynn Groney, otherwise known as Ooh, boo, boo, boo. Because that's what it sounded like when she came up. Now, the crowd was not dissing Miss Groney. And actually, Chris pointed this out. He said that, listen, if you thought Lynn was getting booed, think again, because it just so happens that Lynn has got the unfortunate, I guess you could call it the, I think it's known as the long vowel sound, which happens to correspond with the commonly known boo sound. Not from Groney, because that's not what they were trying to say. The crowd was not saying boo. They were actually saying the juice, because that was her high school nickname. Are you bored yet? Okay, all right. So anyhow, Groney was talking about growing up with Christie and stuff. She was a little less boring than Sheila Goldplank. So there you go. I complimented her, okay? What else do you want from me? So, and Lynn Groney said about Christie's mother, she described her as a no-nonsense kind of gal. Well, we all knew that, right? She had a hard shell. And, of course, the comment, which is worth relaying to you fully, she may have had a hard shell, but once you penetrated it and were counted among her friends, she remained your friend forever. Oh my goodness, Lynn Groney. All right. Okay. Thank you for that. But Lynn was a pal of Christie. And the reason that I use the past tense is because of her forthcoming comment, which I'll leave it up to you to interpret. In any case, it's not easy to get him on the phone these days. But the governor manages to stay connected to those he holds dear. That, of course, meaning Chris Christie, who apparently is not an easy guy to get on the phone. Although, back in the day, he was, I don't know if you could say it was easily, because I have not interviewed high school graduates from Livingston High School, which, by the way, was the location of the speech given. Guys, please don't rag on Christie like he's trying to live back in the glory days. And no, I'm not ripping off Bruce Springsteen. I'm just letting you know that Christie won Class Prez 4 years in a row. But all I'm saying is that, listen, the best part of Lynn Groney's whole speech, and please, I urge you to look this up. I mean, the Christie campaign will be thrilled to get your hit on YouTube when you watch this video. But I'm not shilling for them. I mean, who do you guys think I am? I am informing you of this next upcoming fact because it's simply life-changing. Okay, I'm not going to go that far. Listen, guys, the best part of my whole evening when I was watching this, and it was a decent evening, okay, keep that in mind, was during Lynn Groney's speech. Yes, not during Chris Christie's speech, during Lynn Groney's speech. Look to the back right of Lynn, and you're going to see a major Christie fan. I've officially titled her Old Lady, okay? And she is fanning herself. But is she really fanning herself? Think again. Because it appeared, as I was meticulously studying the habits of this prospective voter who was listening to Miss Groney, it appeared as if fanning Old Lady was actually not fanning herself. She was more of a communal fanner in that she was fanning some fella who was right next to her. And listen, this was like a young man who did not appear as if he was overheating. So, you guys can make up your own minds, but it looks to me like Christie has got some supporters who are quite generous, giving people. Fan the guy who doesn't even, I mean, he's not asking to be fanned. He's not sweating bullets. I mean, good Lord, I do not want to confront dementia this early on in the podcast, but this lady was fanning. I mean, when I say over her shoulder, I wish I could say that, but it was really, to the side of her shoulder. And it appeared as if she had no intention to fan herself. Or else she did not know that she was not fanning herself. She was fanning this other guy. Guys, I'm not saying she should have been institutionalized. All I'm saying is look up the video on YouTube because it was a major highlight of the whole event. And shortly after Lynn Groney's speech, boy, it was intensely dramatic. I mean, I think that some kind of professional wrestling speech guy must have been hired because we've got the whole. And now, introducing the next president of the United States of America, Chris Christie. Okay, cue the Bon Jovi music. This one goes out to the one who hides in miracles. This one goes out to the minds in need. This one goes out to the cynical minister. I'm not about apologies. And then, as Jovi is rocking the stage, just open your eyes and you can see this figure emerging. Wow. It's totally unbelievable. It is Christie in full form. And he was there. You could say he showed up to his own speech. I'll tell you who else showed up to his whole entire speech was his family. And actually, this is one of the things that sets the Christie campaign apart from the other candidates out there. He actually had his family come up with him on the stage. That's right. No podium to block the sheer power of this candidate, because he had his family behind him and a bare naked stage in front of him. So Christie's family was like a prop. Excuse me, not a prop. A set piece of the whole production. And they did a pretty good job. And you're saying, oh, Danny, pretty good. What are you not saying? Well, I'm not saying anything, all right? You mother licka. I'm saying it all. I'm reporting to you right here, right now, the objective facts, undisputable. If the laws of physics, if I had that as a guest, as my very first guest, hello, Mr. Laws of Physics, how would you feel about the Christie announcement, right? By the way, I am scouting for my first guest. I would like somebody notable. So if you are, please contact me. If you're not, please contact me. In any case, I'm not going to comment too much on the physics of the situation. Because, as you will note, in episode number 7, I admitted, actually, I kind of set up an accountability system for myself. I promised my listeners, you guys, that I'm not going to make fat jokes about Chris Christie. Wait, that's not the whole thing. Okay? I said in full context that I'm not going to make fat jokes about Chris Christie for no good reason. Okay? So, please, guys, everybody out there who ever hears this, please hold me to that. Okay? But just like Hillary said, that any email, handling was done out of, quote, convenience, quote, unquote. I will use that clause, otherwise known as, quote, for no good reason, unquote. Right? I will use that clause until it gets me elected president, just like Hillary hopes. Okay? So, there you go. It's a lesson in promises. What kind of promises should you believe in? Should you believe in a promise that leaves in out the size of the gap in the U.S.-Mexico border in which it's easy to immigrate through illegally? Should you leave a gap that large in your promises? And if so, should you expect other people to believe your promises? And guys, I'm not going to say another one way or the other. Another lesson in politics about what kind of promise I was making about Chris Christie fat jokes. Because guys, I got no jokes for you. Okay, this is serious. I want a good president, just like you do. And so I'm not going to get hung up. But if you are still listening at this point, I will just say that Sheila Goldplank was, I'll say she was big boned. Lynn Groney was legitimately chubby. And was this a setup? Guys, it wasn't a setup. It's classic narrative storytelling. I mean, you're asking the right guy. Because, well, I'm not going to go into my personal career in fictional storytelling. Because no one's bought any of my screenplays yet, unfortunately. But I will tell you that it helps. It helps to prime the pump. Prime the pump. And I can actually give you another reference, which was my great-grandfather, who was an oil man in Oklahoma. And he could tell you, you know what, son? You need to prime that pump. Guys, I'm getting so off track here. Would you guys like to hear about the content of Mr. Christie's speech? Because it was glorious. I am not going to discount what was said on the campaign trail via Christie. I would die first before I did that. So just know that before I go ahead and report on the facts. And until then,